Perfect. Whether you've just changed your strings or maybe the seasons have changed or your 1-year-old got a hold of your tuner knobs, you need to tune your strings. Now, you may have one of 4 different ways to do this, whether that be a clip-on tuner, a pedal tuner, a app, or just using your ear. And so we will briefly go through all 4 of these, and you can skip forward to the one that you're currently trying to figure out. Now, no matter which method you're using, there are a couple key things I want to mention here that are going to help you tune 1,000% faster and more accurately. First of all, sometimes I'll have students tune like this, or like this. Both of those have their own problem. See, we want the note to always be loud and clear without hitting it 1,000 times per second. So you can put 2 or 3 seconds between when you're actually picking the string to tune it. If the string gets too quiet, it will either slowly, very slightly drop in pitch, or the tuners won't be able to hear it. The other key thing is to not get confused with sharps and flats. Your tuner reading a sharp or a flat is not the same as it reading A. If you're not aware, a flat is a half step lower than A, so you will need to move it higher. And a sharp is a half step higher than A, so you'll need to move it lower. Now, that might sound confusing if you're new to tuning your guitar, but it's really not too bad, and we'll come across it a lot as we're tuning together, so you'll see exactly what to do. Let's start with the glorious clip-on tuner. Now, this one clips on to the headstock of your guitar, and we've got a few options on the bottom here. We've got C for chromatic, which is when it just takes in any note and figures out which pitch is closest to what it's hearing. G for guitar, B for bass, V for violin, and U for ukulele. Now, yours may have more or less options on it, but that's what this one has access to. So let's start with our thickest string, which we know needs to be an E. Looks like right now it's closest to a B, so I'm going to move it upwards, B, C, D, E. Now we're at E, and you'll notice this little arrow on the top here. In the middle is where the pitch is perfect. So we could have an E that's dragging a little bit or a little too high up. We're aiming for an E that's perfectly in the middle. So now we've got a perfectly tuned E bottom note. We know our next string needs to be an A, and right now it's a G. Remember that our musical alphabet starts over after G, so we need to raise it up by 1 letter. Now, real quick, you may be wondering, how do I know we move up to an A instead of down to an A? And really simply, it's because every single string from the thickest to the thinnest needs to be higher in pitch. So if I moved my 5th string down to an A, it would end up sounding lower than my 6th string, and we don't want that. So I'm going to move up to an A. There we go. This 4th string, we're aiming for D, so let's raise it up to D. Right now you'll notice we're at a C sharp. That little symbol next to the C tells us it's sharp. So remember, sharp is a little too high for the note, but this is a C. We still want to move up to a D. Okay, let's take a look at using the pedal tuner. Okay, we're looking at the pedal now, and the concept is exactly the same. I'm going to play a note, and the pedal will tell me what note it's closest to. I know in my head what note it needs to be, and then once I get near to that note, it's going to show me the needle either too low or too high, and we just kind of dial it in right to the middle. So let's take a look at this third string, which we know needs to be a G, and when I play it, looks like it's an E flat. You can see the flat next to the E. So to get it to a G, I need to raise it up. This is a great example here where we're seeing a G flat. So right now I've got it right in the middle for a G flat. But I know that's 1/2 step or 1 fret too low. I still need to get it up to a G. And there we go, we've got our G in tune. Let's take a look at how the app on our phone works. Now this app is called Guitar Tuna, like tuner, but with an A. And I don't use it for any other reason than I like the way it looks and it works well. But there are a lot of tuning apps out there that are completely free. Guitar Tuna is also free. Now I'm going to hit my second B string here to try to get it in tune. And we can see that it's so low, it thinks it's the third string. So I'm going to keep raising it up. And the needle, in this case, is this little floating circle. The nice thing here is it tells us if we need to tune up or down, so long as we're close to the right note. Now it recognizes we're on the second string. And it gives us a nice little check mark. Awesome, that's our second string in tune. Let's try it with the first string, and then we'll try tuning by ear. Same thing, we gotta make it jump up a string. Nice. Perfect. Now, if we strum our guitar, it should be in tune, right? But something is still very wrong. And this is specifically if you're tuning an electric guitar, which we're not, or if you've got new strings on there. These strings need to stretch. And so when we've got them in tune and they're all stretched out, they're going to kind of relax a little bit. It needs to be pulled again, and they relax a little bit less. So it's really good when you've finished tuning from thickest to thinnest, jump back down to the thickest string, tune them up again. And once you've done a few work-throughs of the strings, they should be good to go. But let's take a look at tuning by ear. Now to tune by ear, we need one of two things. We either need one of the strings already in tune, or we need to just be okay with our guitar being in tune with itself. So the strings will sound perfect Although any tuner might call them a little low or high, they'll all be low or high together. To tune by ear, there's this really cool trick where the 5th fret of a string should be the same exact note as the following string. So, for example, I've just got my A, my 5th string, in tune. Now, my 6th string is very out of tune. So what I'm going to do is play the 5th fret of the 6th string and try to match it to my 5th string. It sounds lower, so I'm going to turn it up. That sounds much better. I'll do the same thing on the next 2 strings and then show you another little trick. So now I'll play the 5th fret on my tuned A string and try to match it with the 4th string. 4th string's a little low, so I'm going to turn it up. That sounds good. Now stay with me because we do need to adjust that in the higher string, so I don't want you to tune wrong. But really quickly, if you know what harmonics are, there's also a way to tune with harmonics, because the harmonic over the 5th fret of any string should match the harmonic on the 7th fret of the next string. Those are the same note. So if I detune my E string so it's out of tune again, we can hear how we can use that, and they ring out so that you can tune without needing to hold anything down. Perfect. Now this rule where you can play the 5th fret to get the next string in tune changes a little bit when we get to the 2nd string. The 2nd string interval is just a touch different from the rest of the strings, so to get the 2nd string in tune, we need to play not the 5th but the 4th fret. And then we can jump back to the 5th fret to tune up that 1st string. So that also means that the harmonic trick doesn't work for the 2nd string either. So remember, 5th fret, 5th fret, 5th fret, 2nd fret, back to the 5th fret. Now we've got nice strings perfectly in tune. There is a completely free PDF download with all of these tips and notes so that you can look at them when you're tuning. It's on my website. The link is in the description. I've also got some clip-on, pedal, and app recommendations. Links all in the description. And I'll see you in the next video.